Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Property Pros Podcast. I'm Mark Goldwich.
I'm Peter LaFromboy.
We're both public insurance adjusters in Jacksonville, Florida, but interested in all things property. Today, our guest is Pam Atkins-Gutierrez. She's a regional property manager with a wealth of experience. Pam, welcome to the show. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. So I am, as you stated, I am a regional property manager in the multifamily industry. I've been in the industry for 25 plus years. I started in 1993. Got into the industry because where I found it was, ironically enough, in a newspaper ad. It had a free apartment. So I was like, free apartment. So yeah, that tells you how long ago it was when they were able to allow free apartments. Then the IRS came in and says you can't do that anymore. So it's gone to an average of 20%. Anyways, so I did most of my career in the Atlanta submarket, all over Atlanta, mainly in the submarkets. So anywhere from Forsyth County to Cobb County. Gwinnett County was where I spent a large portion of my experience in. Fulton County, a little bit of everywhere. So then we moved. I took a job with LPC to move to the Gulf Coast because they had an opportunity that was going to handle the Mobile, Alabama area, Mobile, Huntsville, Birmingham, and all throughout the Southeast for them, and develop the portfolio within the Gulf Coast area. So yeah, so that's where I ended up in the Gulf Coast, living in Panama City Beach with my husband. And he has a business called Taco Doctors, which he restored an old ambulance made it into a kitchen. And him and his partner have a business called the Taco Doctors. So that's actually pretty cool. That's a great concept. So yeah, so he loves it here. I love it here. We love Florida. Don't ever want to go back to Atlanta. If I have to, I will for work now and then, but I don't miss the traffic.
Traffic is really, really tough in Atlanta. So I mean, besides traffic and the size of Atlanta compared to, you were getting ready to handle a market there in the Panhandle and all through the Gulf. What were you starting to experience, and what sort of trends are you starting to notice besides the obvious prices are going up?
What I'm seeing in the market in Florida and along the Gulf Coast is I'm seeing a lot of growth that investors had done their due diligence and seen a lot that was coming to the area. So a lot of growth coming to the Gulf Coast, Destin area, Orange Beach area, and all down through Florida. So what I'm seeing is new developments left and right. Panama City Beach only had 2 properties. 6 months later, they've got about 1,800 units on one block that's going up. So it was a great opportunity, and I've seen the growth coming. So again, they forecast and do their due diligence and see way before any of the rest of us do. So great growth. Tampa area is a really thriving market. Orlando is a big market. Jacksonville is a good market. So all throughout the Florida market, submarkets, it's doing very, very well. So I see a lot of growth.
You mentioned you were working in Alabama. Is that growing at a pace somewhat similar to Florida?
Huntsville, Alabama is a name on the map. That's a great little city. It's really, really came a long way. Started there with one asset with LPC. They said, okay, we'll give you that. And there's one stabilized deal that I had, which was a mid-rise. It was a new development. And within a year's period of time, I had 7 that were under construction and 3 more stabilized deals. So Huntsville is a phenomenal market. Just last month, it was rated number 1 place to live out of the top 10. So it's a great little city. I see a lot of Nashville and Huntsville. When you fly in, you feel that vibe. You've got and it's a really, really neat vibe. You've got a lot of retired military there. You've got the FBI headquarters has built there and developed there. You got the Facebook data center that's actually developing there. And yeah, it's a great, great little city. Mobile, Alabama, a little bit different market than Huntsville and the Birmingham. Birmingham's it's moving along fairly well. Mobile's a little different too, but Huntsville is definitely a growing, thriving market.
That's interesting. I really did not realize Huntsville had that much going on.
It is exploding so much that they had a hard time getting supplies to get to the developments, to get the sites under construction. It's exploding. It's a great city. Max Berlier is he is a long-term resident there. He's taken in the development side of multifamily and the whole Mid-City project. They've got a Top Golf there. They've built an outdoor amphitheater, which is getting some big names in. So it's a really cool city. You need to check into it. It's super cool.
Interesting. Now I know it must be night and day coming from Atlanta to Panama City Beach, right? What are the adjustments that you've had to make in moving from that market to this?
I'll be honest, we're moving from Atlanta to the markets and working in the markets that I've been working in. My toughest hurdle was resources. I didn't have the resources, or I don't have the resources that I had in Atlanta. And the multifamily, especially, you've got smaller companies that are coming in that don't want to pay for the high insurance to get the workman's comp, to get, all the liability insurance and everything. So it's a more difficult market. It's a little more challenging, as well as the talent pool is a little more challenging as it was in Atlanta. You have a lot more to choose from. Where in the Huntsville market and the Mobile market, Birmingham market, it's not the same.
It makes sense. And there's something else that you mentioned too, which I want to go back to. What do you mean by a stabilized deal?
A stabilized deal is one that's already developed. It's already developed, and the rents and the occupancies are stabilized, and then you take it to another level from there. So stabilized means the construction's already done, the occupancies are there, the numbers are there, and it's just a matter of keeping the occupancy up and keeping the income stabilized.
Is this another term for value add?
Value add's a whole nother term. Value ad's a whole different beast. So a large portion of the investors have recently purchased or got into the value add probably the past 5 years. Value add is a little more extensive. It's a little more challenging when you get a product, or an investor buys a product in a submarket or in a market that, again, they see things and they forecast, they do their due diligence, but they see things further down the road. But then they put us in there to oversee the operations, to do the value adds. But what they're doing is they're going for the vinyl plank flooring, the quartz countertops, the granite countertops, the cabinetry, the hardware, and they're repositioning properties. It can't do it in 6 months. Okay. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's going to take probably close to 2 years, because the time that they go in and take the deal over, it takes at least 6 months to get it off the ground, as far as for the choices of what they want to put in the units. Do they want to go with granite? Is the market calling for quartz? So there's a lot of research that goes in after the deal is actually taken over.
Okay, I want to get back to you. You're looking for resources now. That's what you're short on. Do you already know some of the groups that you want to get introduced to in the Panhandle area, or even in that region? Are there specific companies that you're looking to reach out for folks that are watching this? Obviously, how can we help you find the resources that you're looking for?
Yeah, as far as I was fortunate enough that one client actually brought their own construction crew in to do it. But yeah, I need for the renovations, for the value adds, for somebody that does cabinetry, I like to have it done all in one shot. So a company that does the flooring, that buys their own flooring, that does the cabinets, that buys their own cabinets, that buys the countertops and installs everything. It makes it easier from an operational standpoint than to call 5 different vendors to have everything done. So, you know, nobody specific, because I've reached out to some of the companies that I actually worked with in Atlanta, even landscapers, but nobody specific right off the top of my head that I could actually think that I haven't reached out to already.
Okay, types of groups, do you know of networking groups or other local trade organizations, maybe similar to ones you had connections with in Atlanta?
Well, actually the apartment association, so whether it's the Mobile Bay Apartment Association, you know, the Florida Apartment Association. So I've networked and attempted to reach out to, I got involved with the Mobile Bay Apartment Association, actually ended up the regional director of the year for 2020, which was really cool. But I had to do a deep dive to get the connections, to find the resources that I need. I mean, you got to think outside of the box when it comes to that. You have no choice. You have to go to meet people and try to pull them to the properties to get what you need out of them. So yeah, utilizing the resources that I have in those specific areas.
So Pam, prior to us getting started with this today, we talked about rent increases. Could we see a potential rollback in increases? But you know what I'm curious about, since we've seen such drastic increases in rent and home prices, are you seeing people's income levels go up a little bit from where they were to help offset some of these rising costs, or do they seem to be consistent as they were a few years ago? What are you seeing on these applications that will come across your desk?
Well, here's what I'm seeing. I think it's transitioning right now. So what you are seeing and what I'm seeing now is a lot of people have the opportunity to work remotely. And again, that's what's putting a lot of people in the Southeast and have the capabilities to move, who can't afford, you know, to rent at $1,700 a month. However, I do see where it's tough for the food and beverage industry because they don't have the capabilities of making that rent at $1,700 a month starting at. So what I'm seeing is investors that are now looking at low-income housing, and there's currently, I know, 3 that are under discussion as far as for development in Panama City Beach. But yeah, Birmingham area is okay. I mean, it's still a little bit on the lower side, but again, a lot of people have the opportunity to work remotely. So I do see that that's where most of these renters are coming from.
That's interesting because we've heard a little bit of that before, but I know in this area, Jacksonville, when it's talked about the new complexes going up, they're all luxury apartments, higher end apartments,
Sure.
Amenities, and we're wondering, where the folks on the lower end of the scale, where they're going to be able to rent from, and it's not looking great because everything that's in the works or going up is all higher end. So I don't know if you feel it up there, but I know here there's some good concern about the lack of availability of lower income housing. How do you see it there?
Yeah, and like I stated, a lot of investors are actually looking at that. The loans are a little bit different as far as them financing the loans for development for them to go under construction, because they have a little more leeway because they're bringing it to the area to grow the area, to benefit those team members that can't make that kind of rent, that don't make those kind of salaries. So, I know, again, as the communities transition, it's gonna take a little time for them to get that, I mean, again, because all the new developments coming in and these people have nowhere really to go. So it's going to be a matter of people transitioning their lives as well. Do we get a roommate? Do we go to a house? So, there's other ways that they can actually make it happen. They're just going to it's going to be a life-changing experience for them.
Okay. You've been at this a really long time. Obviously, there are folks just getting into the property management business, regional property management business. What do you have for them as far as suggestions from your life experiences, keys to their success, personality traits that would help them? Give us some thoughts.
Sure. It's a great industry to get into. There's several avenues that you could go, from a sales perspective to management to marketing to softwares. I mean, if you have I'll tell them this. I'd like to tell them this. If you have an entrepreneur spirit, you can grow as fast as you want to grow, but you have to have the mindset. You can't get discouraged when you go to the big boys and you think that you're just another number when somebody recognizes you because of your abilities and because of your skill set that you have and go, wait a minute, who is that girl over there? Again, it's a great industry to be in, and it's done well for me. I've been very successful. I work with some of the best companies ever, GoldStar being the largest, not only nationally, but internationally. And then a Lincoln Property Company right behind them. They're even continuing to grow and possibly as large as GoldStar is going to be one day. So it's a great industry to be in. Do not get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Just hang in there, because if you have that entrepreneur spirit and you have it in your mindset, then you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. You can be sitting in that director's seat or that regional property manager seat. It took me a while to get there. It was 20 years on site that I spent, sitting up behind the desk on site. And I didn't care because it was my job and it's something that I wanted to do. It's what I set my goal to do. So yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Definitely seems like a growing business for sure, because homes being what it costs to build a house these days is harder and harder for people to afford. So it seems there's going to be more and more properties to manage for sure.
It's great. And I do a lot of third-party management. So it's great because I get to meet new clients. With GoldStar, I had 5 different clients on night with a total of 9 different deals. So you also build client relationships that will last, forever. And then a lot of the clients will actually look at asset management roles for somebody from an RPM that comes from GoldStar or the Lincoln Property Company. So there's so much opportunity out there. Like I said, if somebody wants to get in, the sky's the limit. It all depends on what you want. It all matters to how much you want to put into it, is what you'll get out of it with any job.
And for folks who either maybe want to reach out to you as a property manager, or as a mentor, or as a resource, how can folks get a hold of you?
Great, it's a good question. So, like I stated, my friend is running a business called the White Rhino Agency, and I am helping him and partnering with him on the due diligence side as far as the DDs and the asset management, doing some consulting on that side. If they want to reach out to me personally, they can reach out. They can go to the White Rhino Agency website, or they can go to, they can call me on my cell phone at, I can give my cell phone number out, 678-887-3883. You can email me at patkinstransitions@gmail.com. So it's with a T, not a D. patkinstransitions@gmail.com. But always looking, you never know when the big day will come and you hit that success rule. So, please feel free to reach out to me for regional property management, any questions that they have or any opportunities that may be there.
Right. Or, you could be a resource to somebody, or someone knows they can be a resource to you.
Absolutely, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, well, great. We appreciate you taking the time with us to talk to us for a little bit about property management and your experiences moving from Atlanta to Panama City Beach. I still think it's a different galaxy, but very cool. We're glad to have you here in Florida. And for folks who want to get a hold of her, we'll have the contact information there. You could always also check us out for other episodes at Property Pros Podcast, either on Facebook or YouTube. That's it for today, and we'll see you next time.